This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Welcome in. Vice President Mike Pence is pledging to do whatever is necessary to get your kids safely back in the classroom. Thank you for joining us here at 7. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. The vice president was back in Indiana for an education discussion at Marian University that also included Governor Eric Holcomb and Education Secretary Betsy DeVos. The focus was on safely reopening schools during the COVID-19 pandemic. Pence and the White House have faced criticism for pushing both K through 12 schools and college campuses to reopen for in-person instruction despite the rapidly rising number of COVID-19 cases across the country. Today, he offered assurances of government support as Hoosier kids head back to class.
Governor, I think you know it's the best thing for our kids is to get them back to school and get them back to school this fall. It's one of the reasons our administration has been working to make that possible. Not only have we issued guidance all the way through last night, but since early in the month of March, CDC has been issuing detailed guidance about how we can safely reopen our schools. But Governor, my pledge to you is we're going to continue to work to make resources available because we know there are additional costs associated with putting into practice the kind of strategies that will allow us to safely reopen our schools.
Dr. Deborah Birx, coordinator of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, also joined the vice president at Marian University today. Our Rafael Sanchez talked with her in a one-on-one interview. She praised Governor Holcomb's decision to issue a statewide mask mandate.
So what your governor is doing now, while you still have test positivity of 6 and 7% rather than test positivity of 10 and 20%, being proactive now may make this containable in a way that we weren't able to in the South.
Rafael also talked to Dr. Birx about safely reopening schools and the direct impact the virus has had on Indiana. You can watch more of that interview with Dr. Birx tonight on the news at 11, and we will post the entire interview on the IndyChannel.com and on the RTV6 app.
The vice president's visit came as Indiana set another record for COVID-19 cases reported in a single day. The state health department says 1,011 new cases of coronavirus were reported today. It is the first time since the pandemic began that the state has broken 1,000 reported cases in a single day. It also pushes Indiana past 60,000 infections total. 4 new deaths were also reported. And new restrictions meant to combat rising cases of coronavirus in Marion County are now in effect. As we first reported yesterday, bars and nightclubs that do not serve food have to shut down at least through August 12th. Restaurants cannot seat guests at the bar and can only operate at 50% capacity. Churches can hold indoor services at 50% capacity, and gyms must restrict capacity to 25%. And social events are limited to 50 people. Hair and nail salons and spas will be by appointment only.
An Indianapolis business is struggling to keep its doors open because of the coronavirus pandemic and shutdowns. As RTV6's Cameron Riddle shows you, the owners of Stacy and Rick's Soul Food restaurant say it's going to take more than customers to keep his small black-owned business from shutting down.
The coronavirus pandemic has had an impact on everyone, but that impact continues to be devastating for small business owners like Ricky Fowler, the owner of Stacy and Rick's Soul Food, where sales are down by 50%.
It's been a lot of stress amongst me and my kids because a lot of things they were used to getting, we're not able to do anymore.
Stacy and Rick's has been on the corner of 34th and Sherman for 11 years, but their doors have been closed since the spring. Fowler says the shutdown dug his business into such a deep hole, he doesn't know how much longer it'll be until the doors are closed for good.
It's hard to say. It could be in the morning. If I don't get any help from the 3 months that I lost, then yeah, that's probably what's going to happen.
To make matters worse, Fowler is in a high-risk category for COVID-19. It's the reason he's kept the restaurant closed up until 2 weeks ago.
I'm diabetic, high blood pressure, and African American.
Fowler says he was forced to come back to work to support his family of 5 and his 6 employees. He says he's been denied every loan or grant he's applied for.
They promised that once we closed down that we were getting the unforgiving loans which I never received. I actually even talked to someone at Governor Holcomb's office, and they said the money was in the pipeline. Where is the end of the pipeline?
Fowler is now depending on his customers to keep the doors open. He says even with a steady stream of customers, it's going to take something more to save his business.
The customers are coming in, but it still can't make up for that loss. You know, it's a big hole. It's a big hole.
In Indianapolis, Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
Well, Fowler says part of the issue is that he has not been given clear reasons as to why his requests for assistance are getting denied.
Hope you've enjoyed the break today with a little lower humidity. Temperatures reached the mid-80s. It felt better. It won't last through the weekend, but it will be dry. Okay, 81 in Fishers. Zionsville's also at 81. If you've got plans this evening, sun doesn't set until just after 9 o'clock, and it will be beautiful. 85 in Bloomington, also in Lafayette. That's the temperature trend. The wind is what brought about the change in the feel. It lowered our humidity, generally out of the northwest. Not too strong, and it will stay light through tomorrow as well under the influence of high pressure, which sits in the Great Lakes. Temperatures in the morning as cool as 64 in Lafayette, 62 in Terre Haute. Afternoon temperatures tomorrow will be back in the middle to upper 80s. These are just a few of the headlines and topics that will roll through when I come back in just a little bit.
We'll see you soon, Kevin. Thank you. It was a tragic situation that could have been even worse if not for some heroic Metro police officers. Today, those officers were honored for their bravery in rescuing two teenagers trapped in a car that crashed into a pond. This happened last month on the southeast side near Shelbyville and East Stop 11 roads. Officer Jared Allen was one of the first to respond to the scene. 4 teens had been in that car. 2 managed to get out on their own, but 2 others were still trapped inside. Allen was a collegiate swimmer and went through water rescue training in the police academy, but this was the first time he put his skills to use. Within 10 minutes of the call coming in, Officer Allen had rescued both victims from the submerged vehicle with help from colleagues like Eric Snowden.
We knew that we had to not freak out, and we knew that there was a person underneath the water. So our first thing was, we're going to get his clothes off because he's the strong swimmer and he's going to get into the pool.
I'm proud of my team. Like they said, it was a team effort. These guys all helped me with everything that I was able to do. So if it weren't for them, I couldn't do anything. So it's nice to get some recognition for everybody.
Unfortunately, one of the teens did not survive. 16-year-old Ella Major died later in the hospital. Today, the surviving teens and their families also attended the recognition ceremony to give their personal thanks to the officers.
Furthering your education could be the next step to a new career. Coming up, what one program is doing to help adults complete their high school degree.
This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
During the pandemic, many Hoosiers were left without a job for a period of time, and most of us still have a lot of free times on our hands. And tonight, our Kelsey Anderson is working for you with details of a program that can help you further your education while you might be waiting to go back to work.
Nearly 20% of adult Hoosiers don't have their high school diploma. That's according to the Indiana University Kelley School of Business. And Crystal House Doors is working tirelessly to make sure adults get that high school diploma free of charge. The adult high school is for anyone 18 or older. Emily Massengale was the founding principal of Crystal House Doors, and she tells me last year they had students from age 18 all the way to 73. The tuition is free, but it doesn't stop there. They also provide transportation assistance, connect you with a mentor who can help you for 5 years after graduation, and oftentimes students leave with college credits or certificates in trade work.
You know, even if you're sitting there thinking, I have my high school diploma, this does not apply to me, it's kind of to just share it with your network because everyone knows someone who needs their high school diploma.
They plan to start school on August 12th, and enrollment is always open. The adult high school program is offered at 3 sites, including Crystal House Academy South, Crystal House Academy West, and at the Ivy Tech North Meridian Center building. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
And you may hear the roar of the lawnmower engine outside your house now. Definitely over the weekend. You're good to mow. What else happens this weekend? Coming up.
RTV6 and the Indiana Black Expo are teaming up for the virtual Hiring Hoosiers Employment Opportunity Fair. Next Thursday, July 30th from noon until 4 p.m. Quality employers are coming together to help you take the next steps in your career, and immediate job openings are available. To get connected, visit indianablackexpo.com. The CDC's latest guidance for schools emphasizes sending students back to the classroom. The new guidance was given just as the U.S. surpassed 4 million coronavirus cases. The CDC says it's critically important for children to return to school and emphasize that students in grade school are less likely to get coronavirus. The agency adds that there are resources out there for parents, teachers, and school administrators to help keep schools safe.
COVID-19 has changed how summer camps operate. In some places, day camps are open with changes that could offer a roadmap to reopening schools safely. Maya Rodriguez has the story.
The great outdoors and the sounds of summer. Or rather, a socially distant summer.
When we're outdoors or keeping that social distance with kids, they have a little more flexibility.
Ryan Amato is the Recreation Program Supervisor for day camps in Falls Church, Virginia, one of the 5,600 day camps that usually operate across the country. This year, 62% of camps closed, but the ones that didn't underwent some changes.
So we really had to kind of, I don't want to say dumb down, but really minimize the activities we do and find things that we can do while social distancing and still keeping their interest.
That meant placing kids in smaller individual camp groups and trying to keep them outside as much as possible. But eventually, when the heat forces them to go inside, some of the changes become more obvious, like the use of this rope.
We do have a rope that we keep them 6 feet when they're walking. They should have a mask on as well because it gets a little congested in hallways.
No, so there's definitely faces that I see every summer that are just not here.
Camp counselor Maya El Haj says that's not the only thing missing. So are the field trips, like to the pool. So instead, it's more classroom games and arts and crafts at a distance.
We're making it work. We're set up like these 6-foot tables so that they know where they're supposed to be.
But could these day camps with classroom setups serve as a guide to schools trying to reopen?
I think their challenges are a little greater, but I do think there's some learning that the school systems can learn from watching some of the summer camps in their jurisdictions.
Yet they admit their programs are geared towards fun, and schools have a more complex mission.
It's a learning environment, and they're going to be there for long periods of time. Once you get indoors, things do change a lot, and it really is important. It becomes that much more important for the mask wearing and the social distancing.
Which is where parents can make a difference, they say.
It starts at home with, talking about the importance of social distancing, the importance of wearing a mask. And when they can enforce that, it helps our staff do it here. It makes our job easier.
And potentially safer. In Falls Church, Virginia, I'm Maya Rodriguez.
Delta has banned 120 passengers after they refused to wear a mask on board. The airline puts travelers on a no-fly list if they fail to comply with the policy. Delta's CEO backed the policy, telling employees that masks are an essential way to reduce transmission of the virus. Delta will take this a step further and will begin screening all employees for coronavirus soon. It will start by screening employees who live in Florida and Texas. And mandatory face mask policies are not just affecting flights. Train rides are also impacted. Amtrak says if a passenger does not wear one, they could be removed or banned. Previously, passengers were allowed to remove their masks if they were sitting alone. The only places people can remove masks now is if they're in a private room.
Most people in the U.S. are in favor of wearing masks outside of their homes. In a new poll, 3 out of 4 said they support wearing face coverings. That includes a majority of Republicans. 89% of Democrats said they're in favor of masks. 58% of Republicans agreed. About 2/3 of Americans do not approve of how President Trump is handling the pandemic. The poll was taken before the president started showing support for masks this week.
Last weekend of July, we'll give you all the details. As you look at my little bar graph here for rain chances, you'll notice the spike is not over the weekend, it's on Monday. That's when thunderstorms are most likely to return. Those thunderstorms have a purpose. They'll bring cooler than average temperatures for most of next week. Headlines for tomorrow. You'll notice a little bump in the temperature. You'll definitely notice the humidity climbing. Lots of sunshine through the day tomorrow. If you're outside, you'll need the sunscreen and a couple breaks to find some shade. 87, the afternoon high temperature in Indianapolis. Temperatures warmer Sunday with more humidity. I include, just in case, a slight chance of a thunderstorm. I'd put it at about 15%, not likely on Monday. Then thunderstorms are most likely, triggered by a cold front that will slide through and change the way it feels for the rest of next week. High pressure over Lake Huron will continue to keep our wind light the next 24 hours. Clear skies tonight, lots of sunshine tomorrow. As that slides to the east, though, our wind will come around to the southwest. That will grab hold of more humid air and make it feel like about 95 on Sunday. Temperatures 86 in Sullivan, 82 in Tipton and Peru. Greencastle right now at 81. Notice how flat the clouds are. Those will fade tonight and skies will be clear and temperatures quite comfortable first thing in the morning. If you're playing golf, going for a bike ride, doing anything outside, refreshing start. Temperatures then warm overnight the next several nights. 73 is what we'll wake up to Monday ahead of that rain. Temperatures tomorrow above average, 87 with a light northeast wind. Bloomington foreshadowing where we're all headed on Sunday, and that's right to that 90-degree mark with a mixture of clouds and sunshine. Find a splash pad. There are several open. Johnson County for one, Hendricks County out in Avon. 89 in Frankfort. Temperatures will hit 90 in many spots. Then, as we get to Monday, the chance for thunderstorms increases out ahead of a cold front. Those thunderstorms open the door to lower humidity, cooler temperatures Tuesday through Friday, highs only in the lower to middle 80s, and low temperatures consistently in the mid 60s. Enjoy what will be a nice weekend. We'll be back with more news right after this.
A programming note, if you're a Dish Network customer, our parent company Scripps and Dish are currently in contract negotiations, and this station may go dark tonight if an agreement is not reached in time. If you are a Dish customer, you can call Dish and express your concern. WRTV is still producing news for you, and you can still watch WRTV News if the channel goes dark. You can always find us at theindychannel.com, or you can watch us on RTV6 streaming apps on Roku, Android TV, Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, the RTV6 app, and over the air with an antenna.
This weekend marks 100 days until Election Day, and it's traditionally the start of the final sprint of presidential campaigns. And this year, though, the election season is full of question marks. Our Joe St. George in Washington looks at the three big questions political parties are working to answer.
Sunday marks 100 days until this election is over, and usually voters have a pretty good idea of what to expect. In a pandemic, well, not so much. Question number one, will voters be engaged? Party conventions have either been canceled or dramatically scaled back. Rallies won't likely happen. Door knocking will also not likely take place. Campaigns are going to have to get creative, but will it work? Question number two, who will Joe Biden pick as his running mate? To be fair, we would ask this in a non-pandemic year, but it still has a chance to reshape the race. All we know so far is Biden's promising he'll pick a woman. Question number three, will mail-in ballots create chaos? More states are allowing voters to cast votes in different ways this year. Will this create controversy? Will voters actually do it? Remember, President Trump repeatedly has said he doesn't trust mail-in ballots. And because more Americans will be voting earlier this year, we're already well inside 100 days before those first votes are cast. And oh, by the way, the presidential debates are set to get underway at the end of September. They are likely going to be the most crucial events this election season. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
Working together during this pandemic means looking for ways to help people. Today, the charity Second Helpings received a check for $12,000. It was presented by RTV6's Rafael Sanchez on behalf of RTV6 and the Scripps Howard Foundation. The charity will use the money to support its meals program throughout Indianapolis. Due to the pandemic, the organization has increased the number of prepackaged meals it delivers to people who are hungry.
Temperatures upper 80s Sunday and Monday. Those are the two warmest days as we look for the week ahead. Then temperatures most of next week after Monday's storms will be more comfortable. Mark and Amanda?
Looks like a great weekend ahead, Kevin. Thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. Our next newscast is tonight at 11.